I'm the river, I'm the rain, the lonesome whistle of a train. I'm the amber waves of grain. I'm the highway, I'm the farm, fertile fields and boulevards, the hand that rests over your heart. Oh, I'm the echo of the bell that's ringing. Oh, I'm the freedom in the song we're singing. I'm the seed that's in the dust. I'm the prayer in God we trust. The place to dream for all of us. I'm America. Dance, the open window to a chance, the place where courage takes a stand. All the colors that you see, the lights from 30,000 feet. Yeah, I'm the roar of victory. Oh, I'm the echo of the bell that's ringing. Oh, I'm the freedom in the song we're singing. I'm the seed that's in the dust. I'm the prayer in God we trust. Place to dream for all of us. I'm America. I'm America. I'm the fathers, I'm the sons. I'm the footprints in the mud. I'm a shelter washed in blood. Oh, 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 I'm the seed that's in the dust. I'm the prayer in God we trust. Place to dream for all of us. I'm America. I'm America. I'm America. I'm America.
Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting. What up, everybody?
What'd you
Welcome.
do?
I don't know. I made it small for some reason. Let's do this.
There
There
we
we go. It was,
Because you're used to being by yourself. You wanted a little single screen.
yeah, just wanted a single
He thought
screen.
I was going to pop up next to him.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to a Monday edition of HomeFront Sitrep. How is everybody doing? Miss Candace, how was your Monday?
Crazy. That's not what you normally ask. You're catching me off guard. It's my first day back in the bunker.
I know.
In how long?
A month of Sundays. Yeah.
We can blame that on somebody else.
Yeah, we'll blame it on somebody else.
Yep. Yep.
But welcome
no,
back.
Monday was crazy. Thanks. Look, just when he thought he missed me, now he has to deal with me.
I know, right? God, you need to leave. No, I'm just kidding. But no, man, today, today was the start of week 2 for my company strike. I'm not really going to go into a whole lot of details on that, but week 2 of walking the picket line, it's going to be the hottest week. It's warheads on the foreheads, bro.
I was reading our shirts.
No, okay. But yeah, week 2, hopefully it doesn't last too much longer because my wife is going to kick my butt. Because I'm home more now. So she's like, you need to go back to work. And I'm like, I'm trying, bro. I'm trying.
Get out of the house.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, you need to go. But anyway.
You need to find something else to do during the day.
I do.
Go plant some trees.
Right.
Something.
Right. Want to give a shout out to Sam Deeds, Mike Snellen. We got 9 people, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't know. You people are coming in and not saying anything. Thank you for coming in and watching.
Say hi.
Say hi in chat. Like, follow, share, all that good jazz. The more people we get in here, the better, the more fun we have. The more people we can reach as well. No matter what corner of the world you're in. Definitely like, share, follow.
Did you squirrel?
I did just a tad, and then
It's because I'm here. I rubbed off on you. I squirreled all day today.
Yeah, but we listen, Smarty
Phoebes.
Party. Hey, do you want to join?
Smarty Party. What is that? He has not had enough crowns today, obviously, and then I get here and I just messed it all kinds of up.
You messed up the feng shui, bro.
I need to get you some edible ones. So
I
you can
know.
just stay here.
I know. Sam, Candace wants to know if you want to join.
No, he was like, I'm going to ask him. And I was like, okay. And he was like, no. And now he wants you to join. He misses you.
If you want to join Sam, you can.
Give him the log on so he can come on whenever he wants.
I should.
Yeah.
I should. We have a great guest tonight. I'm going to throw her link in chat to her website. You can buy her book series as well. So there is her.
I was going to say the one and the only, but it is the one and the second, Betsy Ross.
Yes, Miss Betsy Ross. She has wrote a book series, 4 books. Fight is the first one. Then you got Fight 2 to fight again, Fight 3 to fight back, and Fight 4 to fight on. They're short read books, but they are very intense to read. Emotionally intense, I believe, is how she described it. Emotionally intense to read. So her website is in chat. I'm going to throw it up on the screen as well. So it's fightwithbetsyross.com. And then you can also go to Amazon. I'm going to throw that link in chat as well. That way, her book. So the hard copy, you can get all 4 books into one, and that's the link that just got posted in the chat as well. Or you can buy the paperbacks as individual books, if I remember correctly. I think she's giving me the thumbs up behind the screen there. He is questioning that right now.
Well, you missed her other comment.
What did I? Oh, nice to see us both together.
Are either of the girls here?
Grace is here.
I think this is a day in an episode that I need popcorn. Like, I'm watching you right now, like squirrel all over the place, and it's a good time.
What's
Hi,
up,
James?
What's up, Mr. James Thornton? You know, I am squirreling a little bit because I'm excited. I get excited quite a bit when we have really good guests coming on, and Betsy jumped on the other night when you were sick.
For a second, I thought you were excited because I was back. You're always excited about our guests because we always have awesome guests.
We do always have awesome guests. C says I'm going to listen to the audiobooks on Thursday on my way to North Carolina. See, Miss Betsy, we just got you somebody else going to listen to your books on Thursday. Sam is just like me. We listen to a lot of audiobooks. So got you another one there. But anyway, without further ado, let's bring Miss Betsy up to the stage. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We are doing wonderful. I'm so glad to have you on the show. I'm trying to figure out, is this a better one? Yeah, this is a better one.
He's such a girl when it comes to that. It has to be the Marine in him. It has to be.
It is.
It's like you're coloring in between the lines.
Well, welcome to the show. First off,
Thank
can you do me a favor and give us a little bit of rundown of who you are, short bio of yourself?
I'm not sure if there is a short version
Well, how
because
many-
I do a lot of things, but overall, I'm just a veteran who wrote a book series, but I also have a family, I have businesses, I also work full time. I'm going back to school for my master's. I do a lot of things. So, but Fight itself is a book series, but it's also my mission. So it goes beyond just the books, but the books definitely is where it was started. And especially it helped me through some dark times in my life when I got out of the military. So that's pretty much it. I do miss the military, but this has been another way for me to still help veterans, even though I'm no longer in uniform.
So,
She said there wasn't a short version. I'm sorry. I'm going to cut you off because I never correct a guest. Ever do I correct a guest. But the very first thing that came out of your mouth, I'm just a veteran, is don't ever say that. You are not just a veteran. First of all, you are a veteran, and that means so much more than ever adding the word just in front of it. And
agreed.
you are a female, which adds to that. And it's not this like woman power thing, but own it, girl. Own it. You are a veteran, and we thank you for your service.
Well, I did in the beginning. I was very gung-ho, as they say you should never be, but I still am. But back in the day when I first started publishing Fight, I got a lot of pushback from fellow veterans. And even when I did just get out of the military before the books, I did try to ask for help. And it was, well, that you were in infantry, you're just a woman, you didn't deploy, you didn't do anything. And the mindset that I was at the time, I agree. But I fought even fellow veterans and my own pride and everything. And then I lost myself even more, and with everything going on at the time. And then when I published the books, I got a lot of pushback from, well, you shouldn't talk about PTSD in this way. You shouldn't talk about mental health in this way. You shouldn't bring veterans into this type of light, if you will. If you've read the books, you'll understand. I mean, it is a little intense. It's a different perspective, the look of veterans. They're heroes, but this is a different view of them when they come home. And so I got a little pushback. So that's why I feel kind of off when I'm like, I am a veteran. Absolutely.
Own the fact that you're a veteran. And just because it's a different perspective, I think that's super important in community for even civilians, other veterans, to be able to look outside that box. Whether you're in that box or not, you need to be able to look at that from a different perspective and see a different opinion and value that. Because what do they always say? The good guys always write history, right?
Yeah.
You can't take one perspective and say that's the way it is and that's how everybody sees it. So I know I have not read them yet, and I can't wait to read them, but I look forward to seeing a different perspective.
And another thing, in the veteran community, there's such a stigma about veterans being broken, and it goes back to our military career, where we were told, oh, don't go to sick call, don't do this, you're a badass, don't do this. So when people see the veteran from I don't want to say outside perspective, but a veteran's perspective, knowing what she went through or he went through, and what we deal with that we keep behind the curtains, that we close the curtains on. I think a lot of people don't understand, and they didn't want that to get out there. And I applaud you for doing that. And we've always on HomeFront Sitrep, we always talk that you have to, the more you talk about what you're going through, the better you're going to be. So for you to write it into a book and have people read it. Now, granted, you wrote a fact-based fiction book, because like you said earlier, that the book number 1 was more of you than the other 3 books. And then Scott, yeah. So I squirreled because I just saw his comment because me and him talked about you earlier today. But for you to write a book and show the side of the veteran community that most people don't want to see, that's amazing. And if you haven't got our books yet, or you haven't read them, you do need to read them. I'm going to get the audio book probably as soon as we get off of here, just so I can start going through the series. My friend JR, I don't know if he's watching yet or not, but he said he's already through book 1, getting ready to start book 2, and he said book 1 was amazing. He said he couldn't put it down.
Yeah. And the great thing is, if you want a hard copy, you can get a hardcover, and it's one book that has all 4 in it, and it's on Amazon. It's only $25. Like, it's $25. Think about the things that you spend that on.
Right. But you can also order from her website, which, because Amazon takes a heck of a chunk of the change out of it. So if you order from the website, the author will get more of that money than Amazon will. So,
and that's more of our thing anyways. We like for you guys to, you need to get what you can out of it. But the basis of that is, here at Homefront, you're a veteran.
Yes.
And that means more than anything, you're a veteran, regardless of anything before, during, after. You vowed to make a sacrifice, and we and everybody watching appreciate that.
Yeah, no matter what MOS you are in the military, you signed your name on that dotted line. You went to boot camp. You served your country. You're a veteran, regardless. Like, I'm 0311. I'm infantry. And I can tell you, since we started this podcast, we do not shy away from female veterans, because you guys are warriors just like we are. And I tend to, when female veterans say, hey, I didn't really do anything, I'm not really a veteran, that kind of irks me a little bit, just for the simple fact that
sorry, Betsy, we decided to ride your ass first thing.
I see that.
Sorry.
But no, you're a veteran regardless. But anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to get you in your feels and anything like that. We just want you to know that you are a veteran, regardless of your MOS, regardless of your gender, race, whatever. You are a veteran. That's one thing that we take to heart here. So you wrote. So you got out of the military. How long after you got out of the military did you write the first book?
5 years.
So 5 years. Now, when you got out of the military, did you go through the emotional roller coaster that all veterans go through, like the loss of the feeling of camaraderie, the loss of sense of purpose? So I'm assuming you went through that as well, right?
Absolutely.
So,
I'm sorry. I was just going to add that, in 2 months after I even got back home, one of my friends that I had served with back at Post had committed suicide. So it was like, not only did I get out and I was lost in my world and trying to resolve my demons, I still had pieces of me feeling like I was dying elsewhere. It was like, not to say an out-of-body experience, but it was like I could have been there. I could have, because he was found in his barracks. And it was just like, I lived in those same barracks. Like, what do you mean? And it was like, I had just spoke with him. I just saw him like 2 months prior. And it was, even though I got out, it was like the past was still following me. It was like the past. I mean, even though when I was in, I lost battle buddies to suicide as well, but it was just like, it kept following me. It's like, yeah, you take the uniform off, but everything that you remember, you felt, even people dying, even after you get out, it just follows you. And it was such a dark time for me in all ways.
It always is. I mean, there's no easy transition, because, we've had friends. Sam, he's on here as well. I served with him. So me and him went to boot camp together. We went to School of Infantry together, 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines together. And we've had friends over the years that have succumbed to their demons. And it's hard. And 20 years later, you know, I'm finding out that some of the people that I served with that I lost contact with had committed suicide. And it's just like, and it rips a hole in your heart, because when you're in the military, you build that bond with people, and it's a lifelong bond. I might not talk to them for 5, 6, 10 years, but they're still my brother. They're still my sister. And when you find out that somebody had committed suicide, you're like, man, maybe I should have reached out more, or something of that nature. And mental health is one of those things. And your book Fight, your series, your book series Fight, it focuses on the mental health of veterans. So tell us what made you go that route. What made you go that route?
I guess in a way, I've always wanted to write a book anyway. I just didn't know what it'd be about. But at the time, I was thinking of writing anything. I'd already met my new husband, my now husband, and we were building our own family, our own life. That it wasn't until then that I felt like I had somewhat of a platform where it was okay for me to talk about, like, even write my own emotions on paper. And I started writing just some idea, and I was like, no, I want it military related, because it was like, this is a way for me to somehow feel a connection to that again, that life. And then I developed Leslie, one of the characters, and I it kind of wrote itself in a weird way. That I found out that, yeah, writing is a form of being able to express yourself. But I started writing in more of like a first and third person way, where it was like, these are my emotions, but this is going to be a fictional story. And then I developed basically different sides of different feelings I had gone through. Now, not everything in this series, not even the first book, not everything is me, but I broke up different situations, different phrases, different feelings, thoughts, whatever. And then I just developed these characters and their backstories. So that's when I realized it was almost like therapy for me, because of everything I had gone through.
Right. So when I found you on TikTok. That's the first place I saw your videos that you post and stuff like that. And a lot of your videos is your journey, with your fitness journey, your mental health journey and stuff like that. And you post a lot of stuff, a lot of great content that helps veterans. And anytime I see it, I try to share it and repost it, because I think your mission, your fight, it is a great platform to do what your mission is. And when I listen to your videos, it's like, I get it. I'm like, I feel it, because there's days, especially this last 2 weeks, I've been down. I mean, really, really far down. And luckily, I have a good support system at home, and a good friend in Candace, and good friend in Deeds. And I get to do this podcast, which is my therapy. Like you writing a book for you is your therapy. This is my therapy, sitting on a podcast, talking about things that we face as veterans. And then Rich, a challenge to all, please each pick a date in September to do a suicide prevention video, 60 seconds, vertical selfie style, closing with and I will listen from. I love it. That is a good challenge. We're going to have to do that. So Rich LaMonica, I was talking about him earlier. He's the one that got us doing video podcasting. He's the one that hosts the Misfit Nation show. So I'm going to get you and him connected as well, so you could go on his show and tell your story as well. But yeah, your platform, on TikTok is where I found you at, and your videos. Every time I see one pop up on my For You page, I'm like, all right, I got to watch it, because I wanted to see what I wanted to see what you were saying, what you were talking about. And a lot of the stuff that you talked about on those videos is stuff that I've gone through, and I'm still going through this day. And that's kind of what drew me to you, to reach out to you and say, hey, I want to have you on the show. And then I was telling friends about your books, and like I said, JR, he's already done with book 1, moving on to book 2. He might even be on book 3 now. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a few days, but so how long did it take you to write all 4 books?
All 4 books. Let's see. The most recent one was, I think, last year. So, because I at the beginning, I didn't know it'd be a series at all. At first, it was just supposed to be 1 book, and then I was like, okay, maybe it's just gonna be 2, and then no, maybe it's 3. So it was like I didn't really know. And plus, I was doing other things in the middle of all that. So overall, it took, Carly, I don't even know what year it is. 24. 23 came out last year, 6 years. So 6
Oh
years,
man,
I guess. But that's just
it
because I didn't really plan on making it 4 books.
right. And you've done this yourself, so you're solely
Yes,
independent, which is
absolutely.
hard. Which is hard. So what was your process like to get it to a publisher and to get it out there on Amazon and stuff? What was that process like?
That part was tedious and annoying. Amazon just ended up being the easiest self-publishing route for me.
Mm.
Um, so that's why I kind of just stuck with it. I don't like how much they take from everything, but it's just the easiest to just publish.
Mhm.
But it's just the easiest for me because I could just write it and publish it. Like literally within just a few minutes of each other, I could have it ready to go. So
Mm,
it's just the easiest for me.
okay.
But as far as the marketing side of it, I mean, you have to pay for like ads, whether on Facebook, whether on Amazon, you got to pay for ads, and then getting the word out there for everything is hard.
Okay.
Especially you have a full-time life going on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
full-time
totally.
life going on. So
Times 10.
yeah,
Right.
I feel you. Is it something that you found some of that relief from writing the series that maybe not adding on to this, but do you see yourself writing more?
Right now, I'm just writing just a fictional story. I have other books started. One of them's only semi-military related, veteran related, but fight kind of just stuck with. Now it's just more of a mission. Get the books out there and
Yeah.
continue spreading the word on what mental health really is, and then trying to overcome those battles. Because for me, I felt like I fought alone. And I know many out there do feel like they fought alone or they are fighting alone. And I want to know it's still possible. But I mean, it hurts and it sucks, but it is possible to keep going. Even if you feel like you don't have a resource or support system, you do. But if you feel like you just have to do it yourself, it is possible, but it's hard and it's challenging. And for me, it was, I found out I self-sabotage. Even people who were willing to help me, I was like, nah, I got this. I can do it.
It's pride.
So pride gets me every time. But it can be done. And especially if you feel like you can't open up to people, I mean, you just got to find the right outlets. I
Yeah.
went completely sober for 2 years and I was able to get more back into fitness. I've always loved fitness. Even when I was drinking, I still worked out. It wasn't like that. It was just more of like, and we're going to focus on this more.
Mhm.
And then I got in the best shape of my life. And then I was like building my confidence back. Like, hey, just because you got injured and they basically chopped you out of the army, you're not a POS. You can still be a badass in your own way. You can still be physically strong, even with nerve damage and in pain 24/7. You can still be awesome. And it kind of built confidence again. That helped. That, I guess, that also helped fuel that I can write a story. Even if no one wants to read it, I can write it.
Yeah.
Well, we got a bunch of people that want to read it, and like I appreciate your vulnerability right now and being very personal with us. I think it's important for people to hear sometimes. And like Sam said, the hardest is to tell your own. And I was I was worried because you said something a little bit earlier, and you know me and my wheels, and like I'm sitting over here and I'm uncomfortable, and I don't know if I want to bring it up or talk about it. But I mean, the purpose of this book and this series is to really bring awareness and light to some of the things with mental health that is uncomfortable to talk about. And you hit me with saying that the person that you lost first was somebody in their barracks. And my mind never went to that. As big as we are on mental health and veteran suicide and the concerts that we do, and the thought of that happening before they even made it home, I don't think in the 20 years that I've been in the veteran community has ever crossed my mind. And it, like you almost just broke me. Like, I don't even know what just happened when you said that. And then talking about other people that you've lost that have been in the barracks that haven't made it home yet. They haven't even made it home. And we know that I'm sorry, but that bullshit 22 number, you know, that doesn't include people that are still in as well.
Oh, it don't.
And the fact that like you blew my brain up, Betsy, you did. And the fact that we haven't even touched on things with people that are still serving that we lose to their demons. I don't think that that's something that's focused on
Nearly
anywhere.
enough. Yeah, definitely. I can tell you from firsthand experience, they don't focus on mental health while you're in the military, or at least they didn't when I was in.
Change your socks.
Change your sock, drink some motion, here's some water, blue. But we had some people that committed suicide when I was in, that was in my unit, and you know, and to your face, they looked go happy, like there was nothing wrong with them. But,
most of them do.
And that kind of goes back to, you know, the question that we say all the time on here. You can go up to somebody and say, hey, how you doing? And you could tell by body language and looking at them in the eye that they're struggling inside. That's why you have to ask that next hard question. How are you really doing? And then be ready for that conversation, because it could be a 15-minute conversation, could be a 3-hour conversation, could be a 10-hour conversation. You have to be ready for that conversation. And you really have to mean it when you say, hey, how are you really doing? Because a lot of times us as veterans, we will not open up. We might open up to, like, if Sam would come up to me and said, hey, Willis, how you doing, buddy? And then I'm fine. I'm living a dream. I'm okay. But Sam says, hey, Willis, how you really doing? And then I'm going to open up, because Sam and I have been friends for 20 plus years. And he's my brother from another mother. And so you have to be ready for that next conversation. And in these books dive into the fight of mental health, because mental health is a roller coaster. And I applaud you for taking the stance and writing a book that shows the severe roller coaster that we go on as veterans, because a lot of people don't understand that roller coaster that we go on. Because I could be fine right now, 5 minutes down the road, I'm pissed off and angry to the world, and nothing changed. It's just the way my mind rolls, and I'm hoping that's somewhere in your book as well. I don't know if it is or not, but I'm going to read them and I'm going to find out. So,
sorry, I'm having a connection over here. Like, I can't even focus, because like, I feel like this is something we need to focus on, and not necessarily right this second, but it's
Right.
oh.
Well, unfortunately, fight barely grazes the surface. Like, that's the troubling thing. I made myself cry when I reread my book. When I finally held a copy, the first copy ever of my book in my hand, I reread it just to read it, and it's like I made myself cry. Of course, I mean, some of it is me, so of course I did, but the emotions are very real, but it barely grazes the surface of the issues, whether it's addiction, homelessness, And by addiction, I mean alcohol, drugs, you name it. There's so much that our veteran community face that no one seems to really connect the dots with, I guess. And it could be any little trigger, a song, a phrase, anything. And that's the hardest part, especially with my family. I know when I was trying to just talk to them, just like a normal conversation, I would say something and it was like they were like, "What are you talking about?" And then all of a sudden I couldn't form a sentence. It was like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore. You know what? I don't even want to be here. And then I would just leave. And it was like, okay, that was weird. And then it's like, I couldn't explain myself. I couldn't even tell them what happened. It was just like my brain, like literally just shut off. It was like, I didn't want to feel anything. I didn't want to be near anyone. It was being in groups or even around my own family, people I know. I didn't want to be anywhere near them. I didn't want to have to explain myself.
Well, yeah, it's almost like this protection mode of not wanting to explain yourself, but also not wanting to put somebody else through something too, and also protecting yourself from going any farther with it. It's
I do that quite often with the wife, and I don't mean to do it. It's just something that happens. I agree with you. It's just something that happens, and we could be having a normal conversation, and then I just stop. I'm like, and then I have to walk away, and I don't know why. And she gets upset with me, but I just have to walk away, and it's just like, how do you explain to someone that you care so much about, whether it's my mom, sisters, brothers, whatever, how do you tell somebody what you're going through when you can't really explain it yourself?
Yeah,
He's gonna get you.
that's what I figured. You know what? If I could write a book, then I could definitely talk about that, because I know no one in the veteran community, when I would talk to them, I'd be like, something's wrong, and no one could tell me what it was. And then finally I started putting pieces together, basically using myself like an experiment rat. Like, yep, that's why, that's it. It's no one's talking about it. Let's talk about it. I like to stir the pot a little bit. So
you can't fix anything if you don't talk about it.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you, and you don't really have to talk about it if you don't want to, but your time in service, because you got hurt while you were on active duty, and you kind of made reference to it the military kind of booted you out pretty quickly. Do you want to go into detail about that, or do you want to just kind of leave it?
I'm an open book. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And at this point, especially with the fight series, kind of like y'all said, I kind of,
whatever you want to share,
walk, whatever. My unit was going to Afghanistan, and I had nerve damage. And kind of like what you said, they didn't really want you going to sick call. They didn't want you doing all that. So I didn't. And my injury got worse to the point I couldn't move my arm at all. I was in severe pain, could not move my arm. And then during PT, they're like, well, then you need to go on profile. And then it was like, oh, well, you're a profile ranger. You don't even want to work out. And it's like, before I was out doing push-ups with you guys, I did more than you. What do you mean I'm all of a sudden now don't want to do PT? Even before the Army, PT was I loved it. I did it all the time. And then all of a sudden I'm injured and now I'm a piece of crap. Are you serious? But at the time it was like, they really like kicked me down. And then I was like starting to give up already, and did think about suicide. And so I got put on suicide watch, and they chaptered me out because they needed able bodies to go to Afghanistan, and I had nerve damage in my arm. I couldn't move it, and I couldn't lift anything. I couldn't even close my own door because it was my left arm. So if you can imagine trying to close your door to any vehicle, I had to reach around with my other arm. So it was annoying. But now I just live through the pain. Now I can just do whatever. It hurts, yeah, but I just do it. And pain tolerance. So yeah, I just got chaptered out. So again, not only was I injured, my chain of command basically disowned me. And of course, at the time, I was married to a semi-abusive husband. I was not in the greatest condition of any kind, state, mentally, physically. PT was my everything. All of a sudden, couldn't work out. Running was even a challenge. I was living out of my truck, couldn't find a job. And then, of course, being chaptered. I mean, it was honorably discharged, but it was still kind of like I signed up all gung-ho like to do anything and everything. And now I feel like I failed myself. I failed the people, the genuine good leaders that actually try to push me to go to green to gold. They try to encourage me. And all of a sudden I was at the lowest of the low. But I felt like, and I tried to reach out to the VA, and the VA said I wasn't medically discharged. Therefore, I couldn't speak to a counselor unless I was going to kill myself right then and there. I know that's a lie, but at the time I was like, oh, the VA doesn't even want to help me.
See, that's crazy that they said that you couldn't reach out to the VA because you weren't medically discharged. I mean, you got an honorable discharge. You should be able to reach out to the VA regardless.
I'm so confused.
That's crazy.
I never called back. It wasn't like it was the first time I was in a dark point where I finally pushed myself to call the VA to speak with someone, and they said that I wasn't medically discharged. So that's when that happened. But I was actually more confused because I was like, can they do that? Like I wasn't even thinking about killing myself at that moment anymore. I was like, I didn't even know they could say that. Like, what do you mean? But I didn't follow up. But it wasn't.
Use the VA.
Right. You don't have to be medically discharged to see the VA.
No.
As long as you have an honorable discharge, you can go see the VA. So that blows my mind that they said that to you. That really does. And they wonder why so many veterans commit suicide. And I'll tell you, I started my VA journey last year, and I'm going through the process, and it's like jumping through hoops to see a doctor, and then you got to wait. It's like they're 3 months out on being able to see a doctor, and it's just like, bro,
it's all the things you guys should not be going through.
Right.
Period.
Right. I want to give a shout out to Travis Partington with Oscar Mike Radio. And then also Brian Roof with Every Day's a Saturday USMC Veteran Podcast.
That is Mr. Freeman to you.
Who's Mr. Freeman?
Travis.
It's Travis Partington.
No, it's Travis Freeman.
Where do you see Freeman at?
Morgan.
Oh, Morgan Freeman. I got you now. I got you. So Candace calls Travis Morgan Freeman. But Brian says that he can't wait to hang out with you at Hero Stock. So you'll be able to hang out with Mr. Brian Roof up there, and I'm sure he's going to have you on his podcast, and hopefully we can get you connected with Travis as well to get you on Oscar Mike Radio.
You're blowing my mind, Betsy. Like,
hey, my books are pretty thought-provoking too. You should read them. Let me know what
just
you
talking
think.
to you.
Oh,
like, I think I could sit
them.
and talk with you for hours, but you're going to blow my brain up. Like, literally, it's going to blow up, and the things and the thoughts. Because there's always this wonder of, what are we missing? Well, what is it that we're not seeing? What is it that, where's the focus not being laid? And, there is so much more awareness on mental health and PTSD. And, unfortunately, it's taken a lot of people like us that are here, your grassroots people, if you want to say, to really try to bring that awareness up and bring people together to really get it going into the community, in the veteran and first responder community to start with, but then also trying to push it out into the civilian world, and trying to focus on, these are the things that we need to show people, these are the things that we need to talk about. But then we sit here and we have a conversation with Betsy, and it's like, hold on, we're missing so much. There is so much that we're missing from the different perspectives of not thinking about the time periods where some of this stuff starts. It's not just when you go home. It's not just that transition. It's I feel like some people, maybe there's the adrenaline of being on active or being deployed where it's not quite hitting yet, but then there are the ones that are deep in the middle of it and it is hitting then. And it's important that our active service members are being taken care of just as well. But then the scary part is that you guys aren't being taken care of when you get home. And so it's so frustrating. And you just want to choke somebody and go, where is this help for these selfless human beings that are willing to give their all for you? And then some unfortunately do by choice. And some unfortunately do not by choice. There's something missing here. There's a cutoff that we're missing as a society, as human beings, and this village that it takes for us. That you guys have this camaraderie and this brothership and this sisterhood when you're in. And of course, you have each other's backs, but you have that. Somebody's not going to ask that question because they're probably going through the same thing that you are. So they can't even think straight enough to ask you that question. And then there has to be something there for somebody to see it, to visualize it, to go, hey, we need to jump in right here. We need to make sure that these soldiers, these Marines, whoever it is getting the care that they need when they're in the midst of chaos.
But that's where you have to think. Chain of command doesn't want to think about that.
I don't give a shit what they don't want to think about. That's the problem.
I know.
They need to start thinking about that, because you're not only losing them while they're on the battlefield or in their barracks, now you're losing them when they go home.
Mm-hmm.
And you have families and friends and loved ones that are losing people, and people that are losing themselves because the care is not starting where it should have started. It's not starting when you're in the midst of all the chaos and call it a battlefield, or even on deployment. Why are we not taking care of these people? This, like, I'm sorry, I get angry, I'm passionate. Like, it's not right. You guys should be, it should start when you're in. It should absolutely start from the very beginning.
That right there. What Brian?
Yeah, but you're good to them when you're out there fighting, and you should be taking care of you while you're out there fighting. Period.
Yeah. So Sam says the fear on active duty is that you will get put in an admin role and taken out of leadership.
Well, and that's where
roles.
chain of command needs to change. That's where the focus needs to change, and that's where these squeaky wheels, we need to get louder. That's where when we do tip of the spears, we need to get louder. We need to start talking about it more. We need to make people realize the importance of this, because, you know, when you have the woke civilians that are like, oh, I want to support this. I want to support veteran suicide and awareness. What do you know about it? How much are you researching it? What is it that you're willing to do to help these human beings, to help these veterans, to help these active military? What are you willing to do? Because they'll put a sign in their yard, or they'll donate to a cause that may or may not help somebody. But what are you really doing?
Right. Let's see what Miss Betsy thinks.
Betsy. I'm telling you, like, brain blowing up right now.
No, I think there's just a lot of variables involved. I mean, because we have bad apples too. There's people who milk the system. There are people claiming all sorts of things that weren't true in the VA. Just to get benefits. I mean, hell, you see it a lot in the service dog industry, if you will. It's false. Are you serious? Like, come on. But you see it there too. So people are milking the system, and those good benefits could be going to someone who actually needs them. That's what really bothers me. I was denied VA
for everybody.
Yes.
There is, and unfortunately, there are those bad apples that abuse the system, like you said, and makes it harder on the veterans that need the assistance to get assistance, because they make it so much harder. And we were kind of talking offline earlier, the court case that I had to go to on Tuesday that I had to testify in was a veteran that was abusing the system. And then he bragged about abusing the system, and they finally caught him.
Oh, we know others too.
And we know others as well. It's unfortunately, it gives a black eye to all veterans that actually need the help and that want to do it the right way. And we're struggling jumping through those hoops to get rated, to to help deal with the issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, absolutely, it does.
And then Brian or Scott here from Ruck It Up from Warrior says, what bothers me is that with my organization, about 75 to 80% of the support comes from within the veteran community.
But the great part about that is that you see veterans watching out for veterans, and that's where that support comes from. And where it does bother that's the majority of it. It's such a beautiful thing to see that your veterans are still watching out for your other veterans.
Yeah.
But how much more getting civilians involved? That's where that difference comes in. But you gotta have people to care. It's just like you can't call all cops bad. You can't call all teachers bad just because there's some shitty ones. Doesn't mean they all are. And it doesn't mean that you stop supporting them.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Adam Bird, who's in here watching. He's the founder of Heroes Media Group. What he does for veterans with Heroes Media Group, with podcasting, getting books published and stuff like that is amazing. I think that he might be a good contact for you, Miss Betsy, Mr. Adam Bird. If you want, I can get you connected with him. Adam's amazing what he does with anything media related when it comes to veterans. Adam is one of the OG veteran podcasters from back in the day, and now he's created this network that's amazing for veterans. So if you want, I can get you connected with him. He's one of my good friends, and I can get you connected with him. But and then Brian, I want to comment on this here. Everyone who joined is already accounted for help. You don't take from others. That's been a big false statement. Others fall for and make them not want to get rated. You are correct 100%. That money is sitting there, and it's for each individual veteran. But what we're talking about was not him taking money out of other veterans' pockets, but when he or they, I'm gonna say they, are lying to the VA to get extra benefits, say go from 50% to 100% because they lied on their CMP exam to get that extra money. That makes it harder for us, the ones who are going through the system the right way. It makes it harder for us to get rated, whether 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%, whatever. It just makes it harder for us. I think that's what we were kind of alluding to, not the fact that they're taking money that should go to somebody else, because it don't.
But some of you do feel that way. What did you say for 20 years? There's somebody else that needs it more than I do.
Right. And I don't know if it was the rating portion of that. I think it was more that I thought that there was other veterans that needed the assistance more than I did, because I don't care about the money.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I know, but I didn't think my PTS was that bad. I didn't think my anxiety was that bad. A lot
of you don't.
Right. So for me, there's people like Doc Thomas Reardon that has severe PTS and severe anxiety. He needs the VA help more than I do, is what I always thought. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I never went to the VA until last year.
But you going doesn't take away him being able to do it.
Right. But if I take in an appointment that he might need, that's the way I was looking at it, because the VA is so hard to get into.
It is.
To the doctor's appointments and stuff. Look, there's my brother right there, Mr.
Think
Thomas.
Think about if every veteran that needed it, the VA is not built for it. It's not built for the need.
It ain't.
I told you I needed some popcorn. I would have kept my mouth
well,
shut.
that's like our VA hospital. Our VA hospital here in Louisville only has 4 emergency room beds for veterans. Only 4 emergency room beds for veterans.
I got my own issues with the VA right now. My daddy, that's the whole reason everything happened was the VA. So.
And Doc, you are right. I did go through similar stuff as you did, my friend, and I do deserve to go, and that's why last year I decided to go, and that's why I'm going through the process now. And doing this podcast, and like Betsy writing the book series Fight, that's our therapy. Writing books for her is her therapy.
Mhm.
Doing the podcast is my therapy. Helping other veterans is my therapy, and that's the whole purpose of why we do what we do in our in our niche of what we do. So
I have a feeling we're going to be talking about this on Wednesday.
we probably will.
Sorry.
So I went to Amazon,
Okay.
and down at it says look inside. So there's a little bit. I'm going to read a little bit of
Oh, no, we're going to have the Marine read?
Do you want to read it? Can you read it? Can you read that?
I can read.
All right.
How much of it do you want me to read?
I don't know. I'd say just read up to the first 3 stars.
Oh my God, I could imagine listening to you try to read that.
Do you
It's
mind if we
story
read
time,
it?
boys and
Do we-
girls?
do we-
No,
do
it's
you
fine.
mind if we read- Okay.
All right. It wasn't much longer until Leslie escaped work's bondage and nagging claws that have caused her headaches to become more prevalent. I can't see from that far. They have been getting worse lately, and she sensed it a mile away as she quickly took 2 more Tylenol. Leslie shrugged off the annoyance as she walked out the back door of the hospital. She reminded herself that she loved her job, but there were some days she was tested to her limits. Cameron drove by and honked, giving a wave. Please keep going. Please keep going. Leslie usually tolerated small chit-chat here and there, but tonight she was ready to be home already, hopefully sleeping. The winter night keeps its promise of bringing in the chill and gloom, leaving scattered ice trails on the ground. It was only going to get colder, or so she last heard from the meteorologist on the TV in the break room earlier that evening. Virginia was beautiful and promising. She guessed that's the reason that she came back to it after being gone for so long. Leslie finally crossed the street to her well-used midnight blue 89 F-150. Giving a quick look around, she got in and started up the engine, anxious to get the heater going. The events that occurred during her shift replayed yet again in her mind. She gave a heavy sigh as the images and emotions intertwined, reeling themselves over and over. Then it occurred to her that they weren't too foreign to her. Definitely not my first rodeo. Keep it together.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
the
can only.
italics are her thoughts.
Oh, so at the bottom of the italics is her thoughts.
All the italics, so you're going to be in the character's thoughts, and then if it's like a paragraph long, you're in a flashback.
Awesome. I love it. I mean, that right there is just a snippet of the book. And there's so much in there in just that little bit that we read that I was like, wait a minute. I've done that numerous times. Like, I don't mind chit chat on some days, but there's some days I'm like, keep going. I'm thinking to myself, just keep going, just keep going. And when I get into the vehicle at the end of my work shift, and I just sit there and take a moment, just take a moment for myself, and that sigh. Yeah, I'm right there.
Me too, Julie.
Yeah. So my wife is very emotional, and she just said, I can't wait to read these books. So we're definitely getting these books ASAP to read, because I think they're going to give a great insight, especially like my wife and Candace, who are not veterans. I think it's going to give them a great insight into what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. I did call you emotional, honey. I did.
I feel like I have a pretty good insight, like being in the community for a while. But of course, yeah, there's things that, and dealing with some of you guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So of the first 4 books, which one's your favorite? I have to call you out.
I know. Truthfully, probably number 1, just because that was like my baby. That was the first one. It wasn't meant to be a series, so I put pretty much like my whole heart into it. I still put myself in the other 3 books as well a little bit, but the first one was kind of the general actual feels and all when coming home, trying to just talk to your family. You're like, okay, this is my home. These are my people, but I don't feel human. I don't know who these people are. I do, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It was like very hard. So it was like I really put a lot of the initial coming home emotions and the contradiction that I felt not being in uniform anymore into the first book. So that was probably my favorite, but it's hard for me to still read them. I was almost tearing up because I knew what was coming, what you were gonna say, and I was like, I know what I was thinking when I wrote that.
Yeah.
I mean, I
could almost picture the
even
scenario and the feelings and
yeah, you didn't even get to the first flashback yet. You were almost there, and I was like already feeling it. It's like it's coming, it's coming.
All right, so we got a question for you. Scott Friedenberg says, did you learn anything as you progressed from book to book, and which book was the most difficult to write?
good question, Scott.
Good question, Scott.
Yes. Now, the most difficult probably was number one, but partially because it was, are the readers going to understand what I'm writing?
Mm-hmm.
The veterans or family members. But then I started writing it to where, no, I'm going to write it for the family members too, so they understand it. But probably overall, number one is the hardest because I didn't know what was happening with the series. I didn't know what was going to come of it. So I just put all my emotions in it, hoping for the best. But the books themselves, I think I found out more about myself. Because even though the books kind of it builds upon itself, like I said, more you read, then I started kind of giving somewhat themes to each book. Like the second book introduces like homelessness, third one more into drug addiction, and so forth. Like I said, they kind of grow upon each other, and they mention a little bit of everything, but I kind of gave more of a theme into each book. But I found out more about myself for sure because I was able to form words on certain emotions. It's like, how do I describe this? Because number two also mentions about abuse. My first husband was abusive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like how much. So number two, there were scenes in part two in book two that were very hard. Like I hit the backspace button a lot or eraser a lot because I was like, okay, that's too real. Take it out. Nope. I don't like it because if I have to read it 100 times because I'm editing my own books, I was like, nope, take it out. I don't want to read it. I don't want to talk about it. But then I'd keep coming back and go, okay, let's put a little bit in. This is the purpose of it. Put a little bit in. And so that one, there were scenes in number two that were very hard. But I still learned more about myself because I was able to form words to the emotions that in the beginning, I had no idea how to describe. When I tried to ask for help didn't come out. And if it did, it was like, what do you need help with? It was one of those things like, I don't know. I mean, I'm living out of my truck. I'm eating peanut butter. I'm going to school, trying to survive with these kids who don't know anything about life. I mean, it was like, where would you like me to begin? But the real help I needed was, one, stop drinking, two, actually get a divorce. And then, but I had to find him, had no idea where he was. And when I did finally get an address, he refused to sign the papers. So it was like, I could not get away from him. And physically I did eventually, but it was still like, I didn't know where to begin with my problems. So when I was able to express myself and develop these characters and fight and actually get to talk with other veterans, by the time the first book came out, I was able to talk to other veterans and some were very supportive of what I was trying to do. Then I was like, hey, people have my back. I'm not that crazy after all. My ex-husband was probably just jealous because he said I wouldn't amount to anything. And so I'm going to prove him wrong. And so far, kind of have. So it's been a journey. Yes, kind of.
It is.
But
I think you're a rock star. I really do. Night Sam. Have a safe trip, my friend. So Sam is with a skydiving organization that skydives into sports stadiums and stuff like that and carry the flag, the POW flag and stuff like that. That's not all he does. It's just a snippet of what he does. But He travels all over the place. And Brian, you are correct. She is a rock star. Miss Betsy Ross is a rock star. So if you haven't been to her website yet, it's let me get back here. I'm going to copy it and paste it and put it back in chat again.
I have another question.
Go ahead and
What you
shoot your
got?
question.
Miss Betsy. So after writing these books, has any of your family read them?
Just my dad.
Did that give him a different understanding with you? Did you notice anything different?
Not necessarily. He lives in San Antonio now, which is like 5 hours, 6 hours from me. But
Mhm.
I don't ever really get to see him. I'm not very close with my family.
What about your current husband?
Current husband, he supports everything I do. He read all my books. He actually kind of helped me give some insight as far as the infantry side of things. Plus, I was able to speak with a lot of his comrades because they all deployed together.
Okay.
And so I was able to get more insight and like, okay, what do they call this? Like, what's the appropriate verbiage on how they say this? And he would help me with things like that. So he kind of, he supports anything I do. He doesn't, unfortunately, he's one of those veterans that doesn't want to talk about emotions and typical infantry mindset.
That's okay. But
so,
he's been a huge support and rock for you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, he knew about my ex. He knew about everything, and so he has definitely been there for me. Because even when he was still in, and I was already out, I just started my career, and I was like, okay, well, because he had to go to Afghanistan, he missed our daughter's first year of life. He was there for her birth, but he missed her first year of life. So, but my daughter and I, we found a home, an actual home we can call our own, and he can come home to. And so I made sure that was all ready to go and basically waiting for him when he got back from Afghanistan. So we've kind of helped each other through a lot because he does have PTSD. He's got a lot of other issues, which is why the VA stuff y'all were talking about is so relatable in that aspect. They keep pushing back all these appointments.
Mm-hmm. That's my daddy. That's Marcus. I think that's my reason for being and doing what I do. And
So the best thing I did for my VA appointments and stuff was because I work a normal day job. Like
where
my
did you
job's
just squirrel off to?
well, no, it kind of goes into what she's just talking about with the VA therapist. So I work from 7 a.m. to 3:30 every day. Well, when I started my VA journey, I was like, I need to see a therapist. And they're like, well, we can get you in the therapy within the VA, but you have to do them early in the morning. I'm like, well, that's not conducive to my work schedule. I said, is there any way that I can do a community consult and start out straight from into the community? That way I can find a doctor that I can go to at the end of my shift, like say 4 o'clock, 4:30 or whatever. So I was lucky enough to get into the community consult program. And when my doctor, so I can go in, have my appointment, and then I can schedule my next 3-4 appointments if I need to. And I can, and luckily he's not so far stretched out that I have to wait 3 months to go back and see him. I've been seeing him pretty much every month, and once a month.
We were just talking about Matthias.
Yeah, Matthias Carter just joined.
His ears are burning.
So, but yeah, so if your husband hasn't checked with the VA, the community consult, because I don't know what your husband's day job is, if he has a day job, but if he's having struggles getting in to see the therapist, then I would recommend probably checking into the community consult for sure. And then we were talking about you, Matthias, just a few minutes ago. Welcome to the show, my friend. So Matthias
Also wrote a book.
It's called Instead of Sheep, A Soldier's Way of Explaining PTS to His Son, by Matthias Carter and Nick Atchison.
Oh, is the second book out yet?
So that's another person that we can get you connected with as well, because he's wrote He's wrote that book, and then he's writing other books as well. And one of our purposes of Homefront Sitrep is making that connection with people that could help each other. And like Matthias could help you, Adam could help you, Dexter Pitts, who wrote I Am Pitts,
and she may be able to help them too.
and you might be able to help them as well. So
it's a great network, and I feel like Homefront is building this beautiful village. It really is, and it's nationwide, and somebody knows somebody, and if any of us need anything, we got somebody to reach out to, and anybody we bring on, that's something that I think is really super important to us, that you become part of that too, and having that resource, that nobody should ever feel like they're alone in their fight, ever. There's something out there for everybody, and if somebody doesn't have it, we know somebody that does, and it's the way to make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. So your next book that you're working on, I know we kind of touched on it earlier. What's the basis of the book? Like a brief synopsis of it.
Maybe she
If you're referring to you're referring to Down in Georgetown, that's just a fictional fun story. It's not veteran related or anything military related. It's nothing like that. I wanted to write a fun book for once. I'm not just this depressing author talking about PTSD and such. I want to write something fun too.
So you want to expand your horizon, pretty much.
She wants to be Betsy Ross, not Sylvia Plath.
I wanted to be an author of different genres. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't think it matters what you write about. Like, if you can write and you're able to connect with people and you're able to give an idea or an outlet for somebody, that's the most important, regardless of what genre it is, regardless of whether it takes off or it doesn't. Like, somebody, it's gonna reach somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's the key to it. It's not about the fame and the fortune. It's about being able to reach out and help somebody or put them in a better place or a better understanding, I think.
Oh, I agree.
So if you have read, I almost messed that up. My Kentucky almost came out. My Marine almost came out. If you have read Miss Betsy's book and you haven't went to her website to leave a review of the book, please do. Reviews help authors big time. If you go to Amazon, leave a review. Also go to her website, leave a review. Especially for independent authors, it helps them big time. And like this podcast for us, word of mouth. Like we don't put out content like most people do. Ours is organic. It's word of mouth. And same thing with independent authors. So when you go to their website, you have to leave, or when you read the book, go leave a review, whether on her website or Amazon. Leave reviews because that helps the authors out. Once I get the book and I read the book, I'm going to leave a review on Amazon and your website. And I'm sure my wife will do the same thing. Candace will do the same thing as well. And so if you have read the Fight series, Brian Roof, I'm talking to you because I know you've read it. You need to go to Miss Betsy's website and leave a review. Go to Amazon and leave a review.
Yes, and it's okay to be honest because the books, they may hit everyone differently. Because one review on Amazon, you could probably read it yourself. One of them was looking for answers in his own father's death. His father, I guess, committed suicide and had served, and he was trying to find out why. And unfortunately, this is not a self-help book. Every veteran has a story that it's not going to solve questions like that. Unfortunately, it just gives insight to struggles that veterans do face, mainly coming out of the military.
Right.
I mean, of course, while they're serving too, because in the flashbacks you'll see current, struggles. But if those are the kind of questions you're looking for, why did my spouse commit suicide? Why is my friend or whatever, my battle buddy? everyone has their reason. It's not going to help you answer those, unfortunately. It's
Right.
not going to, it's, again, not a self-help book either.
Mm-hmm.
It is a fictional story that's giving insight to these daily thoughts, struggles, and anything like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
they
Brian,
are.
no excuse. They're on Audible. And just because you don't read, you can listen. We know you do that.
And Scott says
Well,
he'll be
that's-
getting his copy in person at Hero Stock.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I know. I don't like either one of them right now because that's what I was looking at you going. But I like my book special. So do you Cash App or Venmo or anything? Like, can I get a signed book from you? Can I buy one
absolutely.
straight from you? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I want a signed book too. So
Well, I asked first.
we'll have to make it happen. We'll have to
Yes.
pay you. So do we pay you through the website or just Venmo you, or how do we do that?
Right. It could be through any of the Cash App, Zelle, or anything like that.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll have to get connected offline again. And,
Yeah.
and we'll make that happen.
Now, can we do that with that hardcover of the collection? Do you have those?
Oh, absolutely. I have them. And if you are going to Hero Stock, I will have
not,
all my stuff.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not close enough to Nebraska to go for Hero Stock.
When it comes to Kentucky.
Yeah, so we are trying to do Hero Stock in
Brian.
Kentucky. But
Scott,
you live out.
the Hero Stock.
You live out west, though, right?
I live
So,
east. Yeah.
You live east.
Oh, I thought you were referring to Texas, not.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're northeast Texas.
Yeah, I'm on the east side. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you're far away from us. Brian says, "Bro, I'm in California, so screw yours." Brian, I also
Yes,
have a
I'm
day
driving
job that
Uh-huh.
I also have a day job, Brian, that supports my family, so it makes it harder on me to travel.
Are you talking crap?
No, not
He's
talking
talking
crap.
crap, Brian.
No, Brian's talking crap.
No, he's talking crap right back. You should hear what he says offline, Brian.
Shut your pie hole. She's trying to get me in trouble.
You're already in trouble. You called your wife emotional.
I did.
I saw the little, like, his phone. I kept seeing text messages come down. I don't know if they were from Julie, but I have a feeling that he's in trouble when he gets upstairs tonight.
Nah, I'm never in trouble. So, is there anything, Miss Betsy, that we haven't touched on that we need to touch on?
Sorry, my 3-year-old's near me now.
No,
you're
you're
fine.
good.
We are all
I would
human.
say that really just to be, excuse me, if you do have PTSD or have any mental health struggles, be cautious when you are reading the Fight series. Because there's some readers who can only read one page at a time because of how intense it is. That it's okay if you feel like you're not strong enough to read a book, like, hey, it's just a book, don't beat yourself up. I mean, the book will still be there. You don't have to read it all. If you need to read one page at a time, go take a break, go take a walk. That's okay. If you have any type of trigger, if you see something like, okay, that was it for me, that was my trigger, and you're gonna put the book down and walk away. That there's no shame in that. We all have different demons and whatnot that we all have to face eventually. And sometimes the surreality of it all hurts. And I understand that more than anything. So, I mean, it's okay if you just need to put it down and walk out. It's, again, I have many readers who have had to admit that, like, hey, it's taking me so long because I can only read one page at a time, and that's okay. So just be mindful of that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that, because we do have a lot of people that watch and listen that have severe PTS and severe anxiety, and just from the snippets that I have read, and like I said, my friend JR, he was reading your first book. He was telling me that there are some parts in there that is like, wow. So if you are, like she says, if you are dealing with severe PTS and stuff like that, that there might be triggers within the book, but that's okay. That's why you have your community, your village to fall back on to help you get through. And if you can't finish the book, you can't finish the book.
Okay.
It's okay. But no, Miss Betsy, I know you got a family that you got to get to because your little ones are running around. You got to get to them. What? You looked at me like you had something to say.
I just thank you for your vulnerability and letting us rag on you and just
I could
your
take that. That's
time
fine.
and thank you for your service.
I appreciate that. I think people forget that veterans need support too. I
Absolutely.
mean,
Absolutely.
we may not be getting spit on anymore, but it's whether
Well,
you agree with war or you agree with military or whatever, the veteran needs to come home to something. We need to come home to a home. And I know I've heard some stories where people were coming home to broken homes. Like, I didn't agree with that war. I didn't agree with you going overseas. I didn't agree with you joining that branch or whatever. We have people in this community even that supports you and will have your back, even if no one else does. You don't need to be ashamed of it, and don't beat yourself up over it.
And just know, no matter what, you're a part of the HomeFront family now. If you ever need anything, reach out.
No, I do appreciate that.
And like I said, I'm going to get you connected with a lot of these other veteran podcasters that we hang out with. Brian Roof being one, Travis Partington. Of course, you were already on Brian's show, which I didn't know that. I'm going to have to go back and watch that interview. But we're going to get you connected with all these other veteran podcasters. We also are going to try to get you on the tip of the spear. I know we got one coming up on Wednesday. It's this because we do it on the last Wednesday of each month at 7:00. And I think this one, we might be booked up on people, but I will definitely send you an invite to the next one. So it'll be the last Wednesday of next month. But just to get you on there to talk about mental health issues and stuff like that you went through and what you've seen in the course of the last 10 years or so.
Our monthly is a little more raw.
It's okay.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little emotional. So, but it's still a great outlet, and a lot of great knowledge is disseminated through the whole conversation. So, yes, Doc, you can listen to it on the. You can listen Audible.
Get the audio books.
Yes, you can listen to her fight series on Audible, Doc. Yes, sir. But anywho, Miss Betsy, thank you for coming on here and hanging out with us. It was our pleasure, our honor to have you on the show tonight. Other than that, we're going to let you go and we're going to close out the show.
All right. Well, thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
It was our pleasure.
Yes.
See you later.
See ya.
How cool was that?
I wasn't ready for that. I was not prepared for that.
I knew it was going to be an intense conversation just from what she posts on all of her social media platforms. If you have TikTok, Instagram, go follow Miss Betsy Ross on there. She shares a lot of inspirational videos of her journey and stuff like that on her social media profiles. So you need to definitely go check those out. And you have to check on your fellow brother, your fellow sister. You have to check on them. You have to. And unfortunately, things happen in life. Sometimes there's things that happen that you don't really want to do, but you have to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Brian, she is awesome. I've talked to her a few times offline before she came on the show, and she's just real. She's just real and very emotional when it comes to her mission fight. When it comes to PTS awareness and mental health in general. She's just real and raw and
Genuine.
genuine. Yes. And I was so honored, when I reached out to her and said, hey, we do a podcast that focuses on veteran service organizations and veterans in general. And I think you have a story that would resonate with our audience, because a lot of our audience are veteran members that is dealing with PTS and anxiety and hypervigilance. And I think I knew she would be great for the show. And all of you guys are amazing. So
If
yeah,
you have TikTok, go follow her.
yeah. If you have TikTok, go follow her on TikTok.
What do can you? Well, shoot.
She
Can you
is.
share her from? That's numb.
So it's at Betsy Ross. Let me see if I can find. Well,
I was gonna say, can we share that?
I don't.
How do we
Brian,
share that?
Brian, can you share her TikTok
Help!
in chat? Miss Candace is over here dying on me.
No, I'm saying, no, my foot is numb, like completely dead.
But yeah, go
From
follow her
being
on
down.
TikTok. Go follow her on Instagram, Facebook. Go follow her wherever you can follow her.
Well,
at.
especially TikTok if you have it, because like Scott said, she's trying to get 10,000 followers on TikTok so she can go live. Like, get that woman live.
Thanks,
Thanks,
you,
Brian.
Thank you, sir. Doc,
Let
my
her
friend,
back.
you
No, not
can
my foot.
you can go and get her audio books. I think they're on Amazon. So if you do audio book, you can get it there.
Does she have an audio on her website?
No, I don't think. I think it's just a book on the website. It says click to buy. So,
Click
but
it.
well, I'm not buying.
We'll
it,
see if it
Brian.
gives you an option.
DV radio store.
Oh,
Let's see. PTS to Betsy Ross, Sergeant War Dog.
what did we do?
I clicked on it.
Click the right button.
I did. So let's see if
Oh
I
wait, what was the little red words over there?
shop.
Maybe there.
Anyway, you must click the redeem button in order for your any promotional offer to
Go
apply.
to Amazon Doc. Just you.
Yeah.
Everybody else go to the website, but Doc and Brian for the Audible. Go to Amazon. Get it there.
Thank you, Brian. God damn it.
We're back. You
Uh,
missed me a little bit in the bunker.
Yeah, so on TikTok, it's Betsy.Ross1. You could go follow her on TikTok.
Yeah, somebody has
she-
turned me into a TikTok junkie.
She is amazing. And you can go to Amazon, download the Fight series on Audible. I'm probably going to wind up doing that. But I'm also going to get a hard copy because I'd rather listen to it and read the book at the same time because of my ADD.
That's what you blame it on.
It is. It's hard to read.
I feel like there's other things to blame that on.
Well, maybe, but who knows? But no, you guys are amazing. Everybody that's been in chat tonight, you guys are amazing.
Mhm.
The reason we do this podcast is for you, and that's the reason each time you come back to the show and hang out with us and interact, you make the show better.
For sure.
So we thank you for that. You guys have also made us #1 on FeedSpot probably for the last 14 weeks in a row. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Yes. 'Cause that means we reach more people, and that's what we
Hey,
wanna do.
Brian, we love you too, and we will definitely see you on Wednesday.
Yes.
I think so Chris Elder, he's going to have Megan and Yogi come on as well. I don't know who from Triple Threat's going to be there. Rich LaMonica is going to be there. Matthias, you are amazing. I can't wait. It's
Julie.
like his ears were burning.
I know we were talking about
We-
you, Matthias.
We were talking about
I need
you.
a book. I don't have a book. I need a signed book from Matthias. Look, Julie's going to give us dates. She will keep up for us. 14 weeks.
14 weeks, but who's counting?
Me.
I'm actually roughly guessing that it's 14 weeks. It could be
Yeah,
more.
but she knows.
Look, there's Miss Betsy. Welcome back, Miss Betsy. We were Yeah.
I will. Wait, what is she saying I will too?
I don't know. Maybe sending you a book.
Oh, I was talking to Matthias. I'm buying one from. Yeah, well, we're gonna get in touch anyways. Because, well, Matthias, I'll buy yours too, but I just need it signed.
She said, "I have no idea," but I giggled. Yeah, I'm.
Julie.
I don't know if it is 14 weeks. I think it is close to 14 weeks. I wish there was a way, like a calendar, like it would tell you how long you've been at number one.
No, I'm just thinking I have Matthias's number 2.
If you don't,
I have your number 2.
so not for you guys. Brian says, "Bring me a book." So not for you guys. Laugh out loud. We're buying a book from Miss Betsy, but it'll be.
We're doing it the
signed
right
copy.
way, Brian.
Yeah, we're not
Right
getting
way.
a free one.
Thanks, Matthias.
And I'll get
I'm
you.
texting you now.
I'll get you connected with Matthias. Or you got his number, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I thought you
good.
did.
I'm special. Than I used to be.
Oh hell! But anyway, you guys are amazing. You're the reason why we do what we do. If you guys wouldn't come on here and talk and interact, I think we would still do the show, but it wouldn't be as good without the interaction from you guys. Brian, Travis, Rich, everybody that is going to be on the tip of the spear on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a great show. We're going to have a
7 p.m. What?
Eastern.
Okay. Thanks.
Did I not say 7 p.m.
No,
Eastern?
that's not what you said.
What did
say
I
it
say?
again. Say it all together.
Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
But you guys are amazing. We love you.
We do.
And it's that time of night, Miss Candace. Let me get it lined up.
You know what I think we need to do first?
What?
After that episode, play that video.
Let's do it. Let's play the video. Listen, Brian, or you quit picking on me now. That's my country coming out. Oh, hell.
Look, serious. Like, if you ever think you need help with something, if you ever need somebody to talk to, 988. You don't always, it doesn't have to be a phone call. You can be a veteran, you can be a family member, you can be a caregiver.
You can text them.
You can
go
live
online.
chat. You can be completely anonymous. Look, you just rubbed off on me. You can be anonymous. I marined it down for sure.
You did.
But it's there. Use it if you need it. Or call a friend.
Go check out Miss Betsy Ross
Mhm.
on all social media platforms.
Mhm.
She wants to get to 1,000 followers on TikTok so she can go live.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Yes, like, follow, subscribe. HomeFront Sitrep, like, follow, subscribe. Go to
Share.
our YouTube channel, share. Vets for Warriors is an
looking at this?
amazing tool as well. I don't know.
We have it on the screen.
We both looked at our phones. Vets for Warriors is an amazing tool as well.
Thanks, Matthias.
Thank you, Matthias.
All right, you guys.
But it's that time of night.
It's been a great episode. Great guest.
Emotional episode.
Mhm.
Because PTS, anxiety, those things are, yeah,
Those things are.
just those things are.
So, without further ado, our Homefront family.
We
Say
love
something.
you.
Oh, that one.
We
We
love
can't even
you.
do this together anymore.
I know.
We do love you with
So,
all of our hearts.
like we always
Look,
say,
we gotta do it.
no, I ain't doing that. It don't even look like a heart. There
Yes,
we
it
go.
does.
But anyway, that's weird. We're never doing that shit again. Like we always say,
He's a crown is the arrow.
no.
We've lost it. Look, we love you guys. Stay safe out there.
We got
got
your
your
6. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your 6.